I've got Larry Goldberg here, and he's been a busy boy today, as usual. Larry, for an old codger, really old, like so much older than me. I mean, you're an active old guy.
Yeah, too active, my wife would say.
Your wife would say too active. She wants you to like sit by her and paint
She wants me to sit by and say nothing.
and say nothing. I see. I see. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
Not the guy I know. Well, Larry, I'm going to start here. Today, well, I shouldn't say today. Since earnings, Cantor Fitzgerald raised from 355 to 510. New Street Research raised from 465 to 520. Mizuho raised from 450 to 485. Deutsche from 435, just $5 to 440. Truist from 280 to 406. Roth MKM from 395 to 505, and China Renaissance from 349 to 380. And this is supposed to be a comprehensive list, and I think there might be a one or two missing here.
Oh,
Um,
one or two missing.
there are one or two missing that also had nice raises in them. Um, I think this might have had an impact on the stock today because the stock did go up about 20 points at the end of the day. It was up 25 at one point. There was other things I think that were there too, but I do believe that this many companies raising the price targets to these levels has got to have a psychological effect on the people, especially the street, the people, the investing class.
Randy, if you wanted me to call the day, I would say the day was a confluence of multiple positive events. The one is, Trump and China coming to some kind of, you know, agreement.
Mhm.
The other is this continuing upgrading by the analysts as they begin to realize the new Tesla emerging. And it is emerging. We've seen many analysts speak to the fact that we're now looking at a different company. We're looking at a company that is emerging from the auto industry chrysalis into this energy, AI, embodied AI giant.
If you'd said
First in
butterfly, you should have said butterfly.
butterfly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Chrysalis to this butterfly. Very apt. I mean, the reality is that a butterfly lives for a very short period of
That's true.
time, but this is going to be a very long cycle. So maybe the chrysalis wouldn't have been a good analogy. This is a very long cycle. This is a cycle of embodied AI in multiple foci. So
Mm.
you have, the first the car, and then beyond the car, we're going to get into, the buses or what do they call a robo van? And then beyond the robo van, into, these devices under in the tunnels. And then beyond that, we're going to get into Optimi, the humanoid robot. And then there are other vehicles, aircraft, and seacraft. So the opportunity for where Tesla is going is unbounded.
Mhm, mhm.
It's unbounded. And the realization is now coming home. And, the fortunate retail investors have listened to Elon long before the street listened to Elon. They understood it. They stood by their investments when the investment dropped below $200, dropped to some of us. There
Mm.
are certain people who panicked at certain stages, but okay, nonetheless, the retail investors by and large have stuck to it and realized, this transition, which even the Morgan Stanleys of this world now realize has happened. And so reaching the end, of the, and I was reading today General Motors' announcement of their coming, you know,
Eyes off or eyes?
eyes off, level 3. They're still living in this ancient world of level 1 and level 2, level 3, level 4, all this bull. Well, I won't say it online. Yeah. So here we are, the analyst community, by and large, beginning to realize what the impact is going to be in 26, 27, and going forward. Huge realization, huge change of attitude. And we called it, we called it several years ago, and we've been consistent. Some of us have been very consistent and focused on it. And so, yeah, the time is coming where we'll see, the realization of this whole strategy.
Yeah, over the weekend, I was really trying to figure out, and I was saying it on air multiple times and on X as well, what was the holdup for the FOMO to start? I mean, yes, you could wait till the safety rider comes out, but the reality is you can watch the videos, you can listen to the commentary, you can go drive one yourself. If you're really confused, you can go right down to a dealership, I mean, a showroom,
But
get
the
one, drive
reality
it
is,
around.
Randy, the press have been so negative. It's paid them. They get the clickbait, they get the clicks. If they can say, oh, Elon's an Nazi and Tesla's falling apart and the end of the world has come for SpaceX, and they get clicks. And eventually it actually, penetrates. Now, I've lost friends.
Mm,
I've lost friends, really important friends, really good friends,
mm.
because I just could not sit by and listen, firstly, to the political stuff and then all the stuff about it. I just couldn't. I just, you know what? My life is too short. I don't need to listen to this stuff. I don't need to debate.
Right, right.
At this age, I need to move on. So, but these people have an impact in the marketplace.
Mhm.
And even today, you don't have to look very far to look at the Financial Times and to look at, the Wall Street Journal and to look at the New York Times to get some negative view on SpaceX, on Tesla, and, on anything Elon touches.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. But if I'm a really sophisticated investor and I have any thought at all that I would like to be in on one of Elon's deals, and the only publicly traded company is Tesla, then I would think I would at least have it in my rear view mirror, or some kind. I would have it, etched. It would have one tab open on my list of tabs. And what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, besides the driving experience, the videos, and the people commenting on
Yeah.
how well they're driving, we've also seen Elon and Tesla hiring like crazy for a bunch of different cities, and a factory is being built that's going to start spitting out cars probably in January, the latest February. He's got to have someplace to go with those because they won't work without universal self-drive, without unsupervised. They won't work.
Randy, you're talking about objective facts. This does not sway the political views of the day.
Yeah. So you think that's it? You think people are just
I,
held
I
in the
mean,
back
that's
on
it.
them? Yeah.
That's it. I mean, just look at the institutions and analysts who are now revising these upward. I mean, New Street, they've been supportive. They've understood they've been along with the ride all the time. But when you get, the JP Morgan chases and you get, it's now quite clear that we are beginning to understand. And, Morgan Stanley had a great piece out. It's private, so I can't really quote it at length. And hopefully we'll have a JP Morgan Chase, a Morgan Stanley guy on with us shortly. But Morgan Stanley they came out and said, this is the end. This is the transition of Tesla as an auto company into a robotics company.
Yeah.
And he could not have said it better. This is the moment, and the street is beginning to take notice. Notwithstanding Gary Black and his views, notwithstanding, all the sort of negative hangers-on who have got some sort of animus towards Elon, that's noise now. Now the view is coalescing towards what is coming, and the only issue for them is to try and value that. The community I belong to, the venture community, is in a kind of a better position than the institutional analysts. Why? Because we have been valuing startups, founders, and companies that are in launch positions. We've been able to value them a lot because our money goes into it, and so we tend to be quite objective about it. We do discount in general the value, but we do begin to reassess those that are breaking out. And so we recognize the pattern, the breakout pattern. We recognize the opportunity. We recognize a lot of these things, and that's what gives us a little bit of edge.
So Larry, you and I talked about it on Friday a little bit, but you've had time to think about it, and I've talked about it with a couple of other of the co-hosts. If I came to your new company, this new venture capital company you're starting, and I said, Larry, I've got the data, I've got the proof, I can save 40,000 lives a year, I can save 700,000 serious injuries a year. Would that have some interest to you if I brought you that product?
Yeah, if this company wasn't public, if it was private, it would have a higher value than it has now. Can you credit that?
You don't have anything out there. There's nothing. There's no product.
Yeah.
There's no science breakthrough that's going to say 40,000. No, not 40,000 lives over 10 years. No, 40,000
per year.
And that's just
I would discount the 40,000 lives. I would say, okay, you may be exaggerating. It may only be 10,000 lives.
Okay.
But you know what? You have to be amused. I read a piece today in Automotive News trumpeting the fact that GM is going to bring out
eyes off,
self-driving, that you can have eyes off. And guess what? It's going to be shipped in 2028.
Oh, 2028.
And in the piece, they mention safety, not once, but 16 times.
Wow.
I mean, everybody's saying safety, 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 safety. We've got to do it safely. We've got to do it safe. So, and it's a puff piece, it's the same piece that we had when General Motors was going to bring out 32 EVs in 2028, 2027, 2025, no, 2025, right, or whatever it was. I mean, now they've given up. And they're going to introduce it in 2028 in one vehicle. And it's an electric Escalade. Okay. Now, the probability is they will not ship an electric Escalade in 2028. The chances of them shipping this in 2028 are close to zero based upon their track record. But nonetheless, they feel it appropriate to make an announcement in 2025 about an not autonomous vehicle, a vehicle that can be driven with eyes off the road in most circumstances in 2028.
So Larry, I have this product that's, it's called FSD, and it'll save 40,000 lives if everybody had it. And it will take years, even if the government started really making an effort, it would take years before everybody would have it, but it will save 90% of the lives of the people that actually own them right now, and all of those injuries. I decided we should start an organization. It would be called Mothers Against Meat Drivers. I mean, we would save way more people with FSD than we have saved as a result of mothers.
Actually, if you call it Mothers Against Meat Automotive, you could have Mama as your organization.
I mean, I know we've saved lives because of Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yeah.
That was effective, but not nearly as many. Anyway, so I want to now have you become a General Motors or a Ford or a Stellantis or Toyota, or to go down the line, and you're sitting there. I don't know about you, but my salespeople were always coming into my office talking to me about the competition. I don't know whether these CEOs talk to their salespeople or even their vice president of sales, or whether it's just too far removed. But I think my salespeople, if I was doing cars and this autonomous car was coming out, my salespeople coming in, what are we going to do? We're going to lose all of our business if people can just get in a car and be driven around. What's happening that this is not yet more of a focused effort with regard to the response to Tesla, and or just pick up the phone with Elon and say, hey,
Look, the mainstream, the automakers, the legacy automakers have managed to maintain the pressure on the mainstream media to the extent that, they trash Tesla, they trash SpaceX, they trash anything Elon. And so, the arms, the munitions manufacturers and the auto companies and, any company that's a healthcare company, anybody's opposed to Elon in all these ventures have managed to keep the pressure through the mainstream media on this stuff. And so you're not going to solve this thing. It's going to be the way it is. It is the way it is. But, the facts on the ground is what matters, and the facts on the ground is going to be what makes the change. So I'm very comfortable that we're going to see a massive change in 2026.
yeah, yeah,
And even greater change in 2027 on these fronts. And the market is now beginning to believe that. If the market truly believed that,
yeah.
I believe the stock would be at, quite higher prices. I don't want to quote a number. We're not there. We're not at that point yet. But when you look at the move between 200 and 450,
Mhm.
452,
Mhm.
then you understand that the market is beginning to understand. You know what's happened? Some of these analysts have actually gone out and driven the cars. That's what's happened.
That's what I said. It's not that hard. It's not that, I mean, it's one thing if you've got to borrow one from a friend, or if,
Yeah.
but you can go to the deal, you can go to the showroom and they will give you a car probably overnight even, to go out and have fun and test it. It's kind of crazy. Well, we have a shareholders meeting coming up next week
Yeah, I'll be there.
from Thursday. Oh, you're going to be there after all. Oh, okay.
Got my invite.
Got your invite and you're going to be there. All right. So we have a comp package. There's actually two comp packages. Some people forget. There's the substitute comp package in case Delaware doesn't go the way we think it's going to go.
Well, Delaware is not going to go anywhere by the shareholders meeting, but we're going to set that in place.
Right. And then we have the second comp package, which is
Yep.
which is the go forward. I know that.
And I'm going to vote yay.
Yes.
I have voted yay on all my accounts.
So Larry, I know that it makes sense to keep folks, like, oh, you got to go and get your shares in because you never can tell. But the vote, what do you call it? The betting, out there is 89% or something. You've got people like Gary Black again saying it's a done deal. Do you have the slightest doubt that those are both going to pass, maybe at the 80% level or something?
No doubt at all, because in Texas, Elon is allowed to vote.
Right.
He's a minority shareholder.
Yep.
He's allowed to vote. The board is allowed to vote. And we do know that many of the investors voted positively last time. I think they'll vote positively this time.
Pretty sure Kathy.
I'm hoping it'll be above the 70% mark. I really hope it'll be closer to the 75, maybe 76%, because I think, it's time for us to just put a stake in the ground. I will say that I was quite pleased by the process of the Supreme Court of Delaware. I think Delaware are going to vote positively in favor of Elon. That's my guess.
Mhm.
Or they're going to send it back with instructions for her to, eat humble pie. I hope that they send it back with instructions to her to eat humble pie. It won't be what we want. We want an absolute negative, but I'd love to see her eat humble pie.
Larry, I can't imagine how you can feel.
I'm not normally that vindictive, but in
What
this
else?
case,
What else?
it's earned.
Yes. What else are you expecting or hoping for at the shareholder meeting? I know that usually, I mean, we think we're going to have dancing Optimi, but are there anything else that you think might be, explained or talked about, or sometimes at the shareholders meetings, I think they've talked about upcoming like battery days or whatever. Those are some of
Yeah, I
those
think there will be an investor day. I think they will announce an investor day. I think it's time for an investor day. The last investor day was very interesting. It didn't pump the stock. Nobody understood it, but it gave us a lot of information that we were able to work over time. And we also learned about some of their optimism on some of the developments which didn't come to pass,
Mhm.
other developments that did come to pass. But it's really nice to take the temperature of what they're thinking over time. So I would love another investor day, and I would definitely, want to appear for that. Look, they're very defensive about their future plans because there's so much speculation around them. So I can understand if they are.
So announced today, it was a couple of days late, a few days late, I guess a week late. Elon has made yet another investment in sanity, in truth. It's called Grokipedia. And anybody who does research, I'm sure there are plenty of people right now listening to me that have done some kind of research on an AI. Now, when I do my research on Grok, I still use the long thing where it shows you its reasoning, shows you line by line.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that unlike 3 weeks ago, Wikipedia isn't showing up in every single search. I mean, every single analysis. Wikipedia, we all know, is totally left-leaning. And in fact, when Grokipedia was announced, the very next day, Wikipedia said, we're going to make all these changes to what we've been doing because we recognize that it might appear to be a little left-leaning. So Grokipedia came out today. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet.
Yeah, I used Grokipedia over the last couple of weeks. It started about a week ago, as I recall, but under the covers, and I've been using it.
Okay.
Um, it's no different from doing research on Grok.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just they do it under this emblem of Grokipedia, and what they do is what Grok does.
Right. Right.
It goes out and does all its research amongst all its resources. I would like them to add more scientific papers, more original sources. I think there's a long way to go, but my goodness, what an improvement on Wikipedia. I am so tired. I am so sick of Wikipedia. It is so opinionated. There's no single scientific uh, um, subject that they don't have an opinion, that they don't invest some of their opinions into, and some of it is the most subtle stuff. They have an army of militant.
Yes. Yes.
It's not good. It's not good. And, I do a lot of scientific research, a lot, particularly right now in healthcare. As you know, I've become
Yep.
quite
Yep.
focused on that. And, I'm used to scientific papers. I understand scientific papers, and I understand also monkeying around with science and where science is questionable, particularly where people don't publish their data.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a science paper is quoted to me, I then drill into that and I look at where the data is and whether they publish the data. And so, I really like the Grokipedia approach. I hope that they refine it
Right.
to test the quality of the underlying quotations and so on and so forth. It's not there yet, but it's a great start.
So, for instance, this article, who's this with? Who did this article? This is the Washington Post said Grokipedia's entry on gender begins with gender refers to the binary classification of humans as male or female based on biological sex. Wikipedia's starts with gender is a range of social, psychological, cultural,
Jesus.
and behavioral aspects of being a man,
Really?
a boy, a woman, or a
Really?
third
No,
gender.
you're kidding me.
No, that's
Is
from
that what Wikipedia really says? Or is that you go
that is from the
kidding
Washington
me?
Post.
That's what Wikipedia says?
That's what Wikipedia says.
Oh, yeah, that's the latest science.
Right.
I mean, that's the science of language. That's taking language and bending it to a sociological, ideological end.
Propaganda, I think they call it.
So I'm interested, how did Washington Post sum this up?
Oh, what did they sum it up? They said, let's see, their summary paragraph here says, the owner of X and XAI has joined a chorus of right-leaning critics, including the ousted Wikipedia co-founder, who say that the online encyclopedia, which has a policy of remaining neutral on ideological debates, too often ends up holding a liberal lens to various things. Musk announced his intention to build Grokipedia in response to an ex post. Oh, okay.
Okay, but now they're talking about Grokipedia versus Wikipedia. But what do they say about that post?
Oh, what do they say about the post? I'm sorry. Let me go back.
So the comparison between the two posts.
Yeah, let's see here.
Are they trying to maintain that what Wikipedia said is correct?
Oh, I don't think so. They didn't. They just stated them, the difference.
I mean, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they led into it. They led into it. Maybe that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
When it first went live Monday, the site resembled Wikipedia in style and format, but it appeared significantly smaller, more opaque to its workings, and more right-leaning in how it framed some articles. And then it gave you that comparison.
That's right-leaning.
Well, I would call it neutral leaning or factual.
No, I think that
truth.
that's right now based on the science. I mean, the science is pretty clear on that. I mean, even when the left quote the science, they have to recognize that this is the current, I mean, only in the social sciences can they have that kind of interpretation. But in the hard sciences, the interpretation is much clearer.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how, what would you call it, how political it is. So, for instance, the whole business of global warming and whatnot has also been co-opted.
Well, global warming has a very strong science base that actually does show significant warming. I mean, that tracks CO2 increase. There's very little doubt about that. The only real doubt is what it portends for the future.
Right. So the models have all turned out to be completely wrong. And I guess last week.
No, I don't think that's a fair statement. They're not completely wrong.
I don't
They're
know.
actually not completely right, but they're not completely wrong. They're very, Right now, the global temperatures in the world actually do reflect a consistently rising rate. And it does track, not to the extent that we were shown, but it does certainly track CO2, the increment of CO2. The outcome for the human race may be very different to that which is predicted. But remember, the same science that predicted that we'd all be eating one another at this point turned out to be horribly wrong and turned out to be catastrophic for the economy and for sociology in general.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you have to separate the science from the predictions of the outcomes by
Yeah.
the sociologists.
And I think this is what Elon intends to do. I think he wants, if there is a battle royale. So, for instance, in the matter of global warming, people cite that the way that they collected data was completely, different and old and outdated. The new data, that's coming in might be better data, but it's different the way they collected it. They have all of the concrete, what do you call it, the inner city warming that's caused by all the amount of concrete that's been poured into our cities. There was a whole bunch of things that could be messing with the data. So explain both sides. Explain what that solar.
The data is pretty compelling. I know that a lot of people contest it. The data is pretty compelling. The issue is whether the outcome is as serious as it's made out to be or not. And by the way, even though the data is very compelling, the actual potential outcome of the data could be wildly wrong. I mean, wildly wrong, and has been, by the way,
Yes, in fact,
consistently wildly wrong.
and
We're
so
supposed to have Manhattan underwater at this point.
and instead we have the greening of the planet, a much more fertile planet that we had
Exactly.
25 years
Yeah.
ago. So anyway, so that's the idea, I think, is to have that kind of a balance. So if there is competing ideas within science, which there should always be competing ideas.
Always. I mean, that's the whole point of science. And by the way, social scientists have consistently demonized scientists over history.
Yes,
I mean, sometimes these social scientists were called religious
right, sure.
guys, and sometimes they were called,
Luddites.
brilliant philosophers, and
Right.
sometimes they were called, I mean, politicians. They've been called many things, but social sciences is kind of an oxymoron.
He says to a guy who has this undergraduate in psych. Yeah, come on, Larry.
Yeah, but you also have a law
I'm not
degree.
arguing with
You
you.
also have a law degree, which means you can hold two competing ideas at the same time to be
100%
true.
right. That's 100% right. So, Larry, we apparently we've written a book together. You and me and about 8 other guys, and this whole thing with Grokipedia fits into the book. The whole thing
Yeah.
with FSD and the future of the world being controlled by AI or impacted by AI. One of the things that I think the number one thing that everybody's questioning and wondering about isn't even the takeover of AI, where AI all of a sudden rules the world, but they're, I think, more interested in things like, will there still be jobs? Will I have a purpose in life? So after spending this amount of time, thinking about and listening to other people and studying, do you have any kind of a sense of, do you think there will be plenty of jobs? Do you think there'll be a shortage of jobs? Do you think it'll be transitory? What are you thinking?
In the late 70s, mid to late 70s, I got an HP 80 computer, handheld. They called it a calculator. It was a handheld computer. And I showed it at a party. I showed some of the things it could do at a party, and somebody said, "This is the end of the world."
That's it.
It's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're going to see some incredible evolutions in the next I won't see it. Maybe, some of you youngsters may see it. But every evolution so far has done nothing but allowed the human race to step up and step up and step up. Now, it's true that some people will really suffer from this. People who can't make that transition definitely will suffer. And there'll be a large number of them because the population has grown very large indeed. And, this has been how it's been ever since the first industrial revolution.
Yeah, some farmers found it hard to change their lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, not only just farmers. Look, the lot of the common man was terrible in the 15th century.
Right.
Got worse in the 16th and 17th century. In the 18th century, started to improve, those that survived the battles and the wars. By the 19th century, it had improved significantly. And now, we're in this 21st century and it's improved dramatically. I predict constant improvement for the common man. I predict that there will always be this, tale of, sorry people. And I mean,
yes.
the drug world has made that even worse in a way, and maybe lightened their lives in some respects, but obviously shortened their lives and dramatically worsened their lives in other ways. So, yeah, there will always be winners and there will always be losers, but the middle class has definitely expanded in terms of percentage and in terms of quality of life and in terms of value of life. So I think the value of life will constantly improve. And what I'm talking about is the value of life across all human beings. And that AI is just the next step. Maybe it's the fourth industrial revolution or the fourth revolution of the mind. So I'm very positive. I'm very optimistic. But hey, I don't have to live with it. You guys have to live with it.
You guys. Well, my mom is 99 and a half.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. And of course, I listen to Peter Diamandis all the time, and he's 100% sure we're going to double the life of humans within the next 5 years, Larry. So, I don't know what pill we'll have to
It'll
take.
double the lives for humans who are now under 20. It won't double the lives for people who are over 90.
Well, okay. There's always that. Let's see. There was one more thing on my mind. Oh yeah. So then my other side of that story is always the practical side. And this is kind of why I got so interested in the whole AI thing and wanted to write the book. It's what does it really get you, And I've talked about the fact I'm living in 1,700 square feet. I have lived in bigger homes, but I have one room that we never walk into out of 1,700 square feet. And then we go to Kauai for a month every year and spend $10,000, $300 a night to stay in a 900 square foot place. So I'm not sure what it buys you. I know that the president of the United States, one of the richest men in the world, most powerful, and Elon Musk, the richest man in the world and one of the most powerful, both prefer a hamburger and Coke for dinner.
I hope Elon is not eating hamburgers for dinner. I hope. Look, wealth is certainly not an end in itself for the intelligent person. I think one of the things that wealth brings is an understanding that wealth is not that valuable. A lot of people say, "Oh, it makes life easy for me. Oh, it makes sense." I don't know that wealth is. Look, I've been rich, I've been poor. Rich is better.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But rich is not everything.
No, not at all. The person that I admire most, Larry, is a young woman, not young anymore, 65-year-old woman on the west side of Los Angeles. I've known her for 40 years, I think now, 35 years. And she has an IQ of 80. She's been a child care person her whole life. So she's been taking care of babies her whole life. And she is living in a $600 a month apartment, not apartment, room. She takes a bus. She doesn't have a car. Rides her bike at 65, still rides her
Hmm.
bike to some of these jobs. And she's the person I admire most in the entire world because of who she is, because of the quality of the way she treats others and the way
Yeah.
she is loved by others. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people who think that money is the great solution to life are so misguided. And they only learn how misguided they are when and if they get that money. And people who don't pursue that money, people who actually have a great relationship with a wide range of people, particularly their own family, they can live an incredible life, a wonderful life. And so, I have every example of every possible permutation of that in my own family.
I'm sure, as we all do. All right, Larry, let's look at what where the markets are right now. So we'll start with Tesla.
First close ever for the S&P above 6,800 for those who told us that the S&P were going into the trough.
And the S&P is like not just over 6,800. 6,875 was the close. 6,875. And so my
So
7,100,
Mr. Lee may have been correct all the time.
well, he was at only 6,600. And then he upped it. He upped it to 7,000, but he still hasn't.
Shows you just how wrong he was.
Yeah, exactly. And he's now said, well, 7,000 plus.
Yeah,
My number is 7,100, so I'm still thinking maybe I get to
yeah,
7,100.
yeah.
Anyway, all of them, of course,
And Tesla's heading for an all-time high.
and Tesla's headed for an all-time high. Now, my thing on that one, Larry, is 500 by Halloween. That's what I predicted a few weeks ago. So we'll see if we get to
Okay,
500 by
okay.
Halloween. Dow Jones up. Well, let me look at the percentages here. For the day, it was up 0.71. Tesla's was up 4.31, and the Nasdaq up 1.86. S&P up 1.23. All of them at record highs, except for Tesla, but very close. Only really $30 away from an all-time high.
I guess we have to get to 489, so only 30 points.
488 or something was the intraday.
488.54. We have to get to 489.
Yeah, that was the intraday. The close on that day was at 480. So it depends on which one you use.
Yeah, well, all-time high is all-time high
So Tesla is
on the tick.
yeah, 455.39 right now for Tesla, up another 0.66 in the after hours. And let's go look.
You must be on the West Coast. I have 455.30.
Okay. The bonds, Larry, are just being sweet to me. They're just doing really good here. Back under 4 to 3,983. And I want them to go to now my new goal is 375.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's where it should be. I think 375 right now, I would consider that to be a good number.
I think 350 by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, 350. Wow. Let's write that.
I think that we're going to see a massive change in the marketplace. Did you see what happened in the Argentina elections?
Yeah, that was amazing.
That's it's an interesting kind of movement. I think we're going to see a very strong, people think that's a political movement. It's actually an economic movement.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
may be seeing the end of this new left, this new socialist, blah, 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 coming on. We may be on the precipice of it.
Yeah, I was thinking about this a lot with this guy Mandami, running in New York. I can't figure out.
He may be the high watermark. I think he'll win, but I think he'll be the end.
Yeah, but I worry, Larry, because I was in Santa Monica when the change happened. When I was living in Santa Monica, we were a conservative city, completely conservative. I don't think there was a liberal on the city council, and I knew the city. I knew one of the city councilmen at that time. I was in my 20s, And I saw what happened when rent control came into Santa Monica. They and San Francisco were the first two in the country to do rent control. And I went, well, this is going to be a disaster, which it was in Santa Monica and in San Francisco. But 50 years later, 60 years later, whatever it is, 50 years later, we still have rent control in Santa Monica. We still have a liberal governing body in Santa Monica. And San Francisco has maybe turned the corner just a little bit, maybe. It takes a long time.
Well, I think we're at peak socialism.
Okay. I'd love to have you be right. Man, I'm going to write that one down too, Larry, because that's the one I'd love to see the most.
I think Mandami's election is going to be peak socialism.
All right. All right. Oil flat, just call it unchanged. It's very close to unchanged in the after hours or the pre-market. Natural gas down 0.41, but it's still pretty high. Okay, Larry, gold. It's hanging out right at 4,000 now. It went under 4,000. It went over 4,000. It went under 4,000. Went over 4,000. Of course, I
It's
got
a
to go
big
down.
retreat. It's a big retreat.
Yeah. What do you think? Does it keep going down as people are
If we're
following?
right, yes. If we're right about Tesla stock, we're right about the Nasdaq, the S&P, then yes, it will go down. I think a lot turns on this meeting between Trump and Xi. And, Xi is busy kind of, changing his military. Who knows what's involved, but a lot turns on how Trump and Xi end up. He has an amazing facility to turn things around, and it looks like it's turning around. So we'll see, and if he does turn around, if we do come to peace with China and we continue this kind of investment in our infrastructure, I think it could well be the end of the gold run. Could be could be the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Silver up a little bit today, but still way down from where it was at 46.95. Copper down 0.19, but still up at 5.16. Dollar mixed in the pre-market. Bitcoin continuing to recover, but still sitting at 114, along with Ethereum, which is going up a lot more than Bitcoin right now. So that's another Tom Lee. He's saying that Ethereum is going to go like a rocket. He's still making that claim for the end of the year. I mean, like more than double. We'll see.
Well, it's only catching up, right?
It's catching up. That's what he says. All right, and the equities are all up. Dow up 0.09, S&P up 0.11, and the Nasdaq up 0.18. So the rally continues into the Fed meeting on Wednesday. Do we need the Fed chairman to say anything?
Yeah, we need, if not a quarter point, we need some kind of words that say a quarter point is coming
in December. Yeah. Okay. So you need some kind of a dovish statement to keep the rally going.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, if we don't get a dovish statement, that would be a buy signal because the market will go down a little bit. If you buy, you'll do well. Not investment advice, just my opinion.
Right. All right. Well, we've talked about a lot of stuff today, Larry. We've been around the horn. Do you have any parting thoughts?
Yeah, get on the boat, guys, because it's leaving the dock.
And my parting
Not investment advice.
And my parting thought is buy the book. Buy the book.
Buy the book. Buy the book. Buy the book.
I
bought the book. I bought the book.
Well, that's good. You should. All right, Larry. As always, thank you so much for coming on. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.